Namaskar. I'm Dr. Nalini Avinash Wagmare, working as a associate professor at the Maharashtra Vidyapeeth, Pune. This is my brief information. Today our topic is Maratha administrative system. In Maratha administrative system, the Ashtapradhan Mandal system was existing at that time. The king's chief objective was the happiness and prosperity of his subjects, Rajya Kalsa Kalyana. The king was assisted by a council of ministers known as Ashtapradhana. Under the Peshwa, the prime minister, he was the head of both civil and military affairs. Then Amartya, he looked into the income and expenditure of the state. Then Vaknavis, he was in charge of intelligence. Dabir or Sumanta, foreign secretary. Then Sachiv, superintendent, he used to take care of all the official correspondence. Pandit Rao, executive head, Senapati, commander-in-chief, Nyayadishan, the chief justice. So judicial reforms, Chhatrapati Shivaji established an impartial and efficient judicial system known as Hindavi Swaraj. The system emphasizes the rule of law and fairness, providing equal access to justice for all. Local courts known as Nyayalayas were established to resolve disputes at the grassroots level. Samiti was the foundation of Maratha judicial system. The Maratha administration was founded by Chhatrapati Shivaji into three levels. The central administration, so with a group called Ashtapradhanas or Council of Ministers, the central administration was headed by the king itself on the advice given by them. Similarly, there was a council of ministers in the village level also named as Sari Karku or Prantapati. Revenue administration. Revenue was in the form of Chauthai and Sar Deshmukhi. Chauthai means 1/4 of the land revenue taken in order to protect themselves from the attack of Maratha army. Then Sar Deshmukhi was collected from Deshmukhs who were the merchants or zamindars of the Maratha provinces. So when we detail study the revenue administrative of Marathas, that time we detail study this one. Now we go to the direct judiciary system. So Nyayadhikari, there is no actual court set up in terms of judiciary in Maratha administration. However, the power of justice was given to Nyayadhikari, which was appointed for every provinces or paranganas. Nyayadhikari was assisted by Samiti. Criminal cases was handled by Patels. The highest court of appeal was Hajar Majlis or Court of King. Regular cases were taken by the village judicial system. Then judicial administration of the Marathas. The Maratha judicial system was based on ancient Hindu rules and was established by Chhatrapati Shivaji. Hajar Majlis. The highest court was the king's court known as Hajar Majlis. Panchayats. These bodies handle disputes between community members. Village Patel. The village Patel decided criminal cases. Nyayalayas. These local courts were established to resolve disputes at the grassroots level. Majlis. These bodies were made up of government officers and the people, the Gota. They discussed judicial cases and awarded decisions. So in the judicial system, arbitration and legal system, rudimentary, lacking codified laws and procedures, and arbitration was prioritized. Panchayat justice and appeals. Unresolved cases were transferred for decision to a panchayat appointed by the Patel in the village and by the leading merchants in towns. Appeals were made to the Mamaldar. Hierarchy in criminal cases. A hierarchy existed in criminal cases with Raja Chhatrapati at the apex level, followed by Peshwas, Sabedar, Mamaldar, and Patel, with the common use of flogging and torture for confessions. In the medieval period, Maharashtra, there was a better organized judiciary. We also get comparatively more details from the contemporary documents about the judicial organization under the Marathas. The Maratha judiciary, like the other branches of administration, was much influenced in organizational matters by the Muslim traditions, but the basic ideas and features were derived from the Hindu sources. There is thus a commingling of Hindu and Muslim traditions in the legal institutions as well. Then what were the sources? We are saying the Maratha's judiciary system was existing at that time better than others. So these are the sources to know about this. In medieval Maharashtra, the sources of law were constituted by the Dharma Shastras, the Mittakshara, the Vyavahara Mukha, the Dhana Kamalakara, the Parasara Madhyamira, and the Chaturvarga Chintamani, and the like. The Manusmriti, though of ancient times, was yet used here. Besides, there were law books containing laws relating to caste disputes, which were consulted for settling caste disputes. Then the customary unwritten laws form another important source. The laws administered by the Maratha courts of law included the law of marriage, the law of inheritance, and the like. These were fashioned by the injections of the medieval lawgivers as well as by the prevailing local customs. In the judicial hierarchy, we find that the Peshwa who acted in the name of the king enjoyed the highest judicial powers. The Nyadisha, however, was the Chief Justice. He enjoyed jurisdiction in both civil and criminal matters. Those Subedars who had received Muttaliki still enjoyed an original jurisdiction. Although they were placed in charge of different subas, they were mostly residing in or near Pune. These were in the times of Nana Fadnavis, the Sir Subha of Konkan, the Subedar of Pune, and the Subedar of Junnar. Besides, there were some other officers who were asked to act as judges because of their ability. Such were the Subedar of Kalyana, Shivaram Pant Thakte, the Padnavis of Khandesh, and some others. Petty cases tried by officers called Mustadis. If the cases were very important, the Mustadis presented them to Nana Fadnavis, who usually referred them to the qualified judges. In the Paranganas, Karyatas, and the villages in the courts were held as and when necessary. Some places such as Paitan, Satara, Pale, Pune, and Nasik were famous for dispensing justice. Important cases were generally brought to these places. In the judicial procedure, a court of law was styled majlis. The trial of case in the local areas itself was generally preferred. If the cases related to religious matters, they were taken to special courts called Brahma Sabhas or Jati Sabhas. When a plaintiff filed a suit or lodged a complaint, Karina or Takrir, a majlis was summoned for trying his case. The presiding judge in the majlis was called Sabanayaka. The presiding judge of the Parangana majlis was the Deshmukh, and that of the village majlis was the Muqaddam. That of a Kasba majlis was then Setti, and that of Brahma Sabha was the Dharmadhikari. So there were special officers called Parikshakas or the Prasannikas at the famous centers such as Satara or Pale, whose duty was to cross-examine the litigants and their witness. When the court assembled for trying a case, the plaintiff presented his side of the case in writing, takraru. Then the defendant was sent for. When he presented himself before the court, the takrari of the plaintiff was read out to him. He was allowed to defend himself by refuting the charges made against him, and the statement of his side of the case was carefully recorded. In the judicial hierarchy, after the first statement of the both parties were heard, the plaintiff was again asked to give his replication and defended his rejoinder. Thereupon, the evidence produced by both the parties was carefully examined by the members of the court and a decision arrived at. The decision was given in the form of Mazda, bearing the names and designation of the members of the Majlis. The Majlis often required much time for coming to a decision and for drafting the decree. Sometimes, after 2 or 4 sittings, they delivered their judgment. Their Nyaya Patra or Mahazar, according to the Hindu law books, was to contain a brief statement of the plaintiff and of the defendant. the evidence produced by them, the description of witnesses, the relevant discussions and argument, the Smriti text applicable, the opinion of the Sabhas and the decision arrived at. The Chief Justice should then sign the Jayapatra and authenticate it by affixing the royal seal. Other members of the assembly acquainted with the Smriti could also sign the Mazhar, though not acting as judges. This shows that the decree was acceptable to them also and that it was fully supported by the Smriti. Then the Mazhar delivered by the Maratha courts largely conformed to the injunctions of medieval Hindu jurists, but it also included some Muslim elements. For example, it included towards the end some important elements of the Sicily, and the Hindu legal terminology was partly replaced by the Persian terminology. An appeal from the original court to a higher court was allowed if the litigants were not satisfied with it and its proceeding. The place where the case originated and to whose court or majlis the case was first taken was known as Mayathar, and the place where any other court was situated was known simply by Thar. The decision given by the court of the Thal was styled Thalapatra, and the same was reissued by the original court in the form of a Mazhar. Then Panchayat method. It seems after 1750, the method of trial by a majlis was gradually supplanted by the Panchayat method. The judicial procedure in the Panchayat was similar to the one followed in the majlis except for some minor changes. There was some change in the nomenclature. The judgment given by the Panchayat was known as Sarmasa, and the decree finally handed over to the winning party was styled Nivad Patra. The Chief Justice was assisted by an Amin and some Dars or Karkuns in his judicial business. Litigants. It seems that judicial process in general was dilatory and much complicated. Litigants relating to the patents of Deshmukhs and Deshpandes, to the inheritance of Inams, to the boundary disputes, etc., were not decided in time. The litigants rarely got the court decision in 2 years and they had to wait for a long time taking their cases from court to court. In the times of Nana Fadnavis, the litigants often got their cases decided in 5 years, sometime in 10 to 12 years, and a few cases remained undecided even after 22 years. So, Nived Patra or the decision of the Panchayat. The Nived Patra or the decision of the Panchayat contained the statement, the case of both the litigants and their pleadings versus the summary of documents produced as evidence by both the parties, depositions of the witnesses, remarks of the panhas or judges of the Panchayat, and the fee charged and the endorsement of the Majumdar. The Nived Patra was authenticated by putting the royal seal either at the top or at the end. It should be remembered that the Nived Patra awarded finally was in some respect different from the award of the Panchayat. The decision or the of the Panchayat was not final. If the case was an ordinary one, the government officer awarded a decree on its basis. If it was an important case, then it passed through a number of judicial bodies until the final judgment was delivered in the form of Nived Patra by a high government official or by a Sardar or Saranjamdar or the Peshwa himself. In the early Maratha period, the Muhajir derived its validity from the popular sanctions as well as the royal sanction. The Gota also had its share in making the Mazars valid. But in the later Maratha period, only the royal sanction was enough to make the Nived Patra valid. Thus, it became a purely state document. The judicial powers of the popular bodies were now combined in the government itself. Then what were the evidence of that time? The evidence produced before the Maratha court was largely two types, human and divine. The human evidence consists of documents, Kagada Patra, possession, Bhogavata, and the witnesses Sakshi. The documents were generally produced in the original. The validity of title could be easily established. if the party concerned was already in the possession of the property or watan to which he had a claim. Then what Sakshidar or witnesses? The witnesses or Sakshidas were generally the members of the village that was not deserted. This was technically known as Pandhari. If part of the village was populated, the rest being deserted, then the populated part only was called Padhari. The witnesses included, besides ordinary people, the village officials such as the Mukaddamas and Patils, the village servants or Barabalutis and the Watandars. Then the supernatural power ordeals also existing at the time. If a human evidence was lacking, inadequate, or if it failed of its purposes, then there was an appeal to the supernatural power to help the court in getting at this truth. This took the form of ordeals which produced the divine evidence. The ordeals was mainly of two types, the fire ordeal or the water ordeal. The fire ordeal could take one of the three forms, the ordeal of a heated metal piece, Ravat Divya, the ordeal of a heated metal ball, Agni Diva, and the ordeal of heated anvil, Irani Diva. If the plaintiff would take out a metal piece from a boiling mixture of oil and ghee, in the second he would hold in his palm heated metal ball, and in a third he placed his palm on a heated anvil. In all cases, his wound was bandaged. On the third day, the bandage was removed. If the wound was normal, then it was bandaged. He was declared successful. But he could lose the case if wound was worsening one. So this is the fire order, what we explained earlier. The water order mainly consists in plunging into a holy water, then spending a fixed number of days without any inauspicious thing happening meanwhile. Besides this, there were some other ordeals such as Shitala Divya, the ordeal of cold, the ordeal of lamps, etc., which were rarely employed at that time. Then the judiciary in Maratha period, we can say the Maratha failed to develop any organized judicial department. At the village level, civil cases were heard by village elder, that is panchayat, in the Patil's office or the village temple. Patil decided on criminal cases. Majlis, Hajir Majlis was the highest court for civil and criminal cases. Then for more detail, I have referred for this one, this book, G.T. Gune, Judicial System of the Marathas. It is ebook available on website. You can download it and read thoroughly, because I very briefly explained this judicial system of the Marathas in this lecture. These are the other books you can refer for more details, that Ken Chitnis, Glimpses of Medieval Maratha, Glimpses of Medieval Indian Ideas and Institution, even Glimpses of Maratha Socioeconomic History. Then we see Desai book, Social Life in Maharashtra under the Peshwas. A.R. Kulkarni books, Marathanche Ityas, Maharashtra in the Age of Shivaji also. Even A.R. Kulkarni, Maharashtra Society and Culture. So these are reference book you can refer for more detail. Thank you. These are other books also you can refer. Thank you. Thank you.